The Athletic ran an anonymous poll amongst 200 NHL players for the first half of the NHL season and posted the results this past Wednesday. Questions like, who is the best player, best goalie, who do you want to punch in the face the most, etc. They also asked, who is the most overrated player in the league? And not the most shocking thing in the world, Trevor Zegras led easily with 12.87% of the votes. The next closest being Darnell Nurse of the Edmonton Oilers, who received 7.92%. It's also important to note, of the 200 players polled, only 101 actually answered this question for some reason. I'm generally curious what the demographics of the poll players were. Fourth line grinders, average Joes, top line players, or a good mix. But anyways, as someone who has watched every Ducks game since 2010 and has gone to 99.9% of the home games the last 3 years, calling Zegras overrated is like telling me you don't watch the Ducks without telling me you don't watch the Ducks. Which makes sense, because just like fans and media, players don't watch every game. They see the highlights and maybe go a little deeper on film day to prepare for their next game. Zegras has had a down year with 4 goals and 3 assists, playing in only 20 of the possible 50 games, for which he was hurt in about half of them, while also adjusting to a new coaching system. In his 200 games played in his career, he has 53 goals, 93 assists for 146 points, including back-to-back seasons with 60-plus points in 2 years of his entry-level deal. Thanks to his teammate Ryan Strome for pointing this out and being correct that only 8 players in the last 10 years have had a higher points-per-game pace on their entry-level deal than Zegras did. This all while the Ducks are in the basement of the league, especially the last 2 years, with some of the worst offensive and defensive numbers in NHL history. Thanks, Eakins. And to be honest, he was pretty much one of the main reasons the last 3 years are bearable watching Ducks games. Outside of Getzau's last few years, it was like, I don't want to miss a game because Zegras might do something crazy. Yes, he dazzled on the ice, scoring flashy highlight reel goals, and creative plays only unmatched by his sometimes over-the-top personality. He never stops yapping.
Well, you can see Trevor Zegras there on the bench. He still remains as talkative as ever. An enemy of silence, if you will.
Also, I am a girl, and it doesn't hurt that he isn't bad looking either. So of course the league marketed the heck out of him. They would be stupid not to. I think his teammate Troy Terry said it well.
It's kind of unfair almost to him because of the highlights and all that. He gets the publicity that some of the other top guys in the league get that put up 100 plus points. It's really not fair for people to be comparing him to that right now because he's only been in the league for 2 or 3 years. It's not really anyone's fault. He does things that are spectacular and has deserved that publicity, but that's kind of the reason.
Ding, ding, ding. There's the reason right there. Thank you, Timmy. For his entire rookie season, NHL fans could not escape seeing Trevor Zegras. From his 2 Michigan lacrosse goals, to his viral internet-breaking Michigan assist to Milano, to being featured on the cover of EA Sports NHL 23, he was everywhere and anywhere. And the Zegras hatred was not surprising for a player who just entered the league. Similar to how fans have gotten to the glazing of Connor Bedard. Obviously, Connor Bedard is better than Zegras. I'm not trying to say it is, it's just similar. And by the way, Zegras' Michigan was better than Betsy's. The thing with Zegras is you see the highlights, and that's what they are, highlights. With Zegras, it's more than just the points and the crazy things he does on the ice. It's the little things he does that doesn't show up on the scoreboard or the stat sheet. He makes transition from offense to defense easier. He controls and maintains the puck, and has a knack for getting it back on the forecheck. Not to mention his true talent is to pass the puck. He is constantly scanning the ice and using his peripheral vision to thread the smallest of needles. He's also so deceptive that even he doesn't know what he's going to do.
I don't know. Like, I kind of just blacked out for a couple seconds, honestly.
If you watch the Ducks with any consistency, you would see a noticeable difference with him in and out of the lineup. I think another of Zegras' teammates, Ryan Strome, said it best.
If that's overrated, then I'll be overrated all day. I'd love to be overrated. The numbers don't really lie.
Of course, there's 2 sides to hockey, the offensive and the defensive side. To be honest, before this season, Zegras really didn't have a defensive game, which isn't great considering he's a center, although he has been switching from left wing to center every other game. This is no doubt the weakest area of Z's game. He does and probably will struggle with this his whole career, but when he is focused, he can be very serviceable on the defensive end. There are going to be nights where stuff like this happens.
McDavid picks it up, little spin move, and he just leaves Zegras in the dust there.
And he gets walked on the defensive end. But Z will always be the first to take the blame for these types of lapses.
You were the best player on the ice. Oh, it's my fault. Unbelievable.
Zegras is going to improve, and he has improved exponentially this season, thanks to actually having a system in place. That's all thanks to a defensive-minded and detail-oriented coach in Greg Cronin, who wasn't messing around in Zegras' first practice.
Got a glimpse today of your first practice with him.
First thing he did was take my stick and throw it in the corner, which I thought was definitely interesting, but we'll work through it for sure.
Don't go putting him on the PK or anything, but I'm no longer nervous when he is trapped in the D zone. He needs to continue to figure out how to use more of his offensive skills and awareness to help his defensive game. With him being such a gifted playmaker, player, he should know the angles a pass can come from. He can use this to anticipate and break up plays. And I feel he has started to see this and use it to his advantage. I would say he's just below league average when it comes to the defensive side now, and some nights he actually might be a little better than league average. I think the funniest part with the whole Zegras is overrated thing is that as soon as Ducks' #1 reporter, and never gets things wrong, Frank Saravelli, said Zegras was on the trade block because the Ducks traded his best friend Jamie Drysdale, it was amazing how many fans came out of the woodworks because they wanted him all of a sudden on their team. Which, by the way, we did do a whole video on that if you want to go check it out, but here are some clips that I think need to be repeated when it comes to Zegras being traded from the Ducks.
Is Zegras untouchable? No. Very few players in this league are. It would likely take an amazing offer for him to be dealt. Not to mention, it also ignores the reason for being traded for Cutter, which was to acquire more goal scoring. There is no one on the roster or in the pipeline who does what Z does, so moving him makes no sense. Zegras has the 4th most points through 200 games in Ducks history. Zegras has been one of their best scorers since he started here. Yes, he has had a rough season point production wise, but why trade him now when his value is the lowest it's ever been?
Similar to how everyone hated Perry, but everyone would want him on their team back then and now. And I still want the Worm to come home. It would have been great for him to teach Zegras and soon to be Cutter Gauthier the way to walk the line, so to speak. Next year, Pears. Look, you can hate Zegras because of his personality. His overly confident attitude comes off cocky and spoiled. And I get it, because sometimes he annoys the crap out of me too. And he needs to learn to tone it down sometimes. But you cannot deny the skill he has, and that he is still so young and will get better in both his overall game and professionalism. So you can't call Zegras overrated. I think the more appropriate term is overhyped, maybe. Yes, those are two different things. Overhyped, to make exaggerated claims, publicize or promote excessively, aka the NHL overdoing the Zegras marketing. Overrated, to have a higher opinion of someone than is deserved. I'm sure people will comment this is why he's overrated, because I just made an 8-minute video to say why he isn't, and that's fine. I know I'm biased, but I already went through all the things he does and what he means to the Ducks. He makes things happen when he is on the ice. Things no one else in the Ducks organization can do. You just have to actually watch Ducks games to know that. Which, by the way, we recap every Ducks game on our channel. So if you want to follow along to Zegras' overhyped career, be sure to like and subscribe. You know, I was just thinking about it, and it sucks that Zegras has a broken ankle and can't play, but this could actually turn out to be a good thing for him, because pretty much the only thing he can do is lift weights. He needs to get stronger and get on that Troy Terry plan, and him having a broken ankle could actually give him the time to focus on just that. And thanks to some of these photos on the Ducks All-Star break, he does seem a little stronger in the arms. Or maybe he has just gotten fat. There is still probably 2-ish weeks before he starts skating, and at least 3, if not more, before he's back in the lineup. I also want to do a little Ducks news segment at the end of this video because Frank the Tank absolutely dominated during the All-Star game. He went undrafted again, getting randomly selected to a team, biggest cop-out ever by the NHL. And he had 3-point night in one game. He carried his team, and they still didn't let him go in the shootout. His team let him down. Also, it didn't help. He was going up against a bunch of Maple Leaf players in Toronto. So the script was pretty much writing on the wall. He had 2 goals and an assist, 2 absolute snipes, and he almost could have had 4. There was like 2 other breakaways on top of this. I will say I'm a little disappointed in Frankie for his sellies this game. I wanted to see those wild Italian eyes. What a feel-good story for Frank. Everyone's talking about him getting traded, and it makes sense because of his breakout year, and it's gonna hurt if it happens, but I also want to be shocked if Verbeek keeps him because of his energy and feistiness every game, but also he should trade him. It's gonna be an interesting next couple of weeks, to say the least. That's it for this video. Thank you for watching, and go Ducks!
That's it, for sure. It's a wrap.